WeatherScope.
And a good Monday morning. Thanks for tuning in to the Weather Channel. Another very busy one. We have some active weather, another squall line beginning to pass real close to Miami right now. You're going to be looking at some pretty good storms in your region. Some wet weather up and down the eastern seaboard, especially for the big cities in the northeast. And near blizzard conditions continue, and some very chilly weather in the Midwest.
Now, some of the coldest air in many, many weeks we're looking at right now. And with those blizzard conditions, there are a lot of highways that are still in bad shape in Iowa and Nebraska. Parts of Wisconsin have had a lot of snow too. And of course, rainfall has just been tremendous with this storm. Let's take a look at some of the totals, including Mobile, 5 inches. 3.78 Pensacola, Atlanta. You got soaked yesterday in the morning and again in the evening. And these totals are just kind of in the middle somewhere because we have Doppler estimates of over a foot of rainfall in some parts of Alabama, and in central Georgia right here, Doppler estimates of well over a half a foot, up to 9-10 inches of precipitation in some cases just from this one storm. And you can see the heavy swath of rain advancing through the Carolinas into south central Virginia over the last 24 hours or so. And it's no wonder. Again, we have a major late winter storm with all the typical aspects of a March system, from severe weather, tornado activity, some damage, a windswept cold rain, heavy snow, and near blizzard, actually by definition blizzard conditions yesterday in Nebraska and Iowa. Miserable, if not impossible, traveling conditions. Now the rain's changed to snow in Chicago. And you folks in the Windy City may see some accumulation this morning before the snow tapers off. Probably won't be a heavy snow in Chicago, but could be enough to mess up your morning driving plans, so stick around. Here's the storm center. Let's zoom in a little bit. We've got it right now in central Indiana, and on the western side of it, cold winds. Now, in Milwaukee, it's just very light snow, but somewhat heavier snow in northern and west central Illinois and northeastern sections of Missouri. And look at the isobars packed here. The winds are howling 25 to 40 miles an hour on the cold side of the system. So the cold air is coming south, and wind chills are below zero in some cases. Meanwhile, from about the low center east, precipitation is of a liquid variety, except in northern Maine, where we have a wintry mix right now in Caribou. 36 in Burlington, 40 in Boston. It's raining, and raining hard in New York City, 41. Look at Pittsburgh, it's 50 in Erie, Pennsylvania, 47 right now in Detroit, in Michigan. You can see the moisture-laden clouds here on the satellite picture. Of course, the brighter the white in here, the higher they extend into the atmosphere. And in general, the cloud tops in here, 25,000 feet up to 50,000 feet in Virginia and the eastern Carolinas, supporting heavy thunderstorms now moving through the mid-Atlantic. Well, let's start in the New York City area, where we have heavy rain around New York. We went by that pretty quick, but the bottom line is it's going to be wet in New York City and Hartford and Boston and Philadelphia and in D.C. Tornado watches continue. We've got what's left of one in Virginia and the Outer Banks of North Carolina, as well as southeast sections of Florida. Here's a line of storms now between Richmond and the Tidewater coming into Chesapeake Bay. The Delmarva will be affected. The Salisbury, Maryland, look out. Norfolk, Newport News, Hampton Roads, Elizabeth City, North Carolina. You're under the gun. These storms have weakened a bit, but have had a history of producing isolated tornadoes, large hail, and damaging straight-line winds. Check on this long line of thunderstorms here. Miami, Boca Raton, Fort Lauderdale, Key Largo, these storms are on your doorstep. More than likely, only very isolated twisters. The greatest threat, large hail, damaging straight-line winds, deadly lightning, flooding rains. You can see the front sweeping through Florida behind a drier air, and colder winds over the south from Georgia and Alabama through East Texas. Flurries of snow down into the Boston Mountains of Arkansas. 36 in Little Rock now, but it's 9 below zero in Bismarck and Minot, North Dakota. Snow, just a few flurries now, northern Wisconsin, western Nebraska. Heavier snow here near Chicago, south of Rockford, down into east central Missouri near St. Louis. Here's a changeover line here with sleet and some heavy rain showing up on radar. Extreme east central Illinois, northwest Indiana, raining in Detroit, Battle Creek, and Jackson. Snows ending in Kansas City. Snows ended in Nebraska after 16 inches there in some locations. 5 to 6 foot drifts. Southwest in good shape. Northwest, a weak system coming in. A little rain today, Portland and Seattle. Now, let's go on to the forecast. We've got the maps for you. Here's Will.
Okay, Rick, once again, we'll watch our powerhouse storm begin to move its way on towards the northeast. In its wake, some very strong gusty northerly winds. That's going to be the big story for about the next 24 to 36 hours over the eastern half of the country. And with those strong winds coming right down the pike, right down Lake Michigan, the lake effect snows are going to really kick in east of Chicago. Do beware around South Bend, that northwestern corner of Indiana, and that southwestern corner of Michigan, right around Benton Harbor. You're going to be looking at winter storm warnings through tonight, maybe through early morning tomorrow. The snow is going to really pile up, and with winds gusting up to 40 to 50 miles per hour, you will be looking at some whiteout conditions there. So winter, big time, at least with the wind and blowing snow across much of the Midwest for the upcoming day. The west is quiet for the most part, but if you live in the northeastern part of the country, the rain is on the way. It's been raining all morning long from Boston down to New York City and Philadelphia. Looks like maybe a dry slot getting back into the picture around Philly, Atlantic City, and New York City a little bit later on. But again, you can see it's going to be rain all the way north to Caribou with that warm southerly airflow getting all the way up into northern parts of New England. Then on the backside of that area, low pressure, we'll watch our cold front. This will be an Arctic front that begins to press its way towards the coast by early morning tomorrow. That'll be changing any leftover rain to just plain snow showers, and this trend will continue for a couple of days. And look at that strong surge of northerly winds all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Big freeze likely for the next couple of mornings, beginning with Tuesday and more like Wednesday and Thursday. If you live in Birmingham, Atlanta, Columbia, South Carolina, it's going to be a mess. Quick look at the northeastern part of the country, the Midwest, the southeast, storms leaving Miami, and the West Coast mostly on the dry side.
How many sun-kissed oranges does it take to get your whole day's vitamin C?
One singular sensation.
Just one sun-kissed orange for all the C you need each day? 100% vitamin C from one sun-kissed orange? Just one, and you're on your way to a healthy goal of 5 fruits and vegetables a day. It all starts with
Just one.
sun-kissed oranges.
The rush of riding PAL and going huge. It's made snowboarding the fastest growing winter sport in the world. To make